Bodhisattva Samaya, Manobalaya, Bodhisattva Denoba, Didadedo Membawa, Sudu Kayo Membawa, Sudu Kayo Mem, Anorada Membawa, Sarvaside Mebrayada Sarva Karma Sudam Meze Danashriya, Guru Hum, Ha 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 Ho, Bhagavan, Sarva Tatagata Pradama Memundam Bardembawa, Ma Samaya Satwa Okay, now verse 89 mentioned, you have to practice, meditate on bodhicitta. Okay. Now verse 90, 90. See, it said, strive at first to meditate upon the sameness of yourself and others. See, sameness, equal. I and all sentient beings are equal. We all are same. You know. And then next, oh yeah, that's what he said. Upon the sameness of yourself and others. See. First we start that, now practice. We all are same. See how precious this, no? The word is very simple. But if you carefully, if you carefully contemplate on this, it's so precious. And it's so vast, you see. Usually we say, yes, we're all same, same, but we're not thinking carefully. That's, you see, how, I should say, such a great wisdom of the Buddha's teaching. So this, first you see, as mentioned, this talk by Buddha, 2000, about 600 years ago, in a very small place in northern India. Just you imagine, you see, Buddha talked at that time, this teaching, we all are same. Now, this is our 21st century, still we can relate to this, isn't it? Meditate on this, you see. Look up at this, contemplate on this first, you see. Then describe slowly, step by step. Look at this, you see. Then they said, in joy and sorrow, all are equal, you see. We all are equal. Desire to have peace and happiness, joy. We all are equal to desire to free from suffering. See, you see. Thus, be burden of all as of yourself, you see. We should, God means we should practice this mind like yourself, how you got yourself. You got all the sentient beings. We all are equal, desire to have peace and happiness. Desire to free from suffering. Just reflect on this, you see. In the world, what we know in the samsara, so we just say, just me, I want peace, happiness. I want all this joy. I don't want suffering, no. Here, now this is saying, you see, that kind of thought will not happen when our mind is full congested with the mental afflictions. You see, when our mind is so ingrained and a lot of traffic of this all mental afflictions, strong desire, and when these all are just overwhelmed in ourselves, how you can think about this? We all are same. We all are same desire to have peace and happiness. We all are same desire to free from suffering. We cannot think that. So that's why I say, first go to the solitude, mountain, or in your place where you have a right place at your home. Then say, mind free from this all mental entanglement, and then reflect on this. See, this is a contentment, unconfined by cares, and you see, contentment and free. When we establish that state of mind, then these thoughts can manifest and practice. Otherwise, we may talk about it, but difficult to come in the mind. So just look at this, you see, reflect on this, contemplate on this, meditate on this. So this is the first very important point. We cannot rush, As I mentioned, our mental afflictions are like a rubber band. And also I mentioned it's a sticky glue. We're stuck there. So these teachings are the way how to get out of this. That's why Dharma is so precious. That's what Buddha mentioned. Rely on the Dharma, not on the person. No, we get all the wisdoms from the Dharma, from the Buddha's message. That's why Buddha said, my regent, my representative is the Vinaya. Means all the practices, teachings to tame the mind. So, see, now sometimes you may say, oh no, I say friendship is so much, even I cannot protect myself. How I can do all this, So there's some analysis coming. How you can contemplate. How all sensitivities you can bring into your mind to God, to practice. So this you see, first we have to train ourselves, meditate ourselves. We can go outside the walls, just jump there, because we are not well trained. We are not accomplished. So first you have to meditate yourself. Meditate, practice. See, repeatedly reflect. See. Then next you see mention here, this how we can also how we can bring together into the heart, into our mind. Say the hand and other limbs are many and distinct. See, in our body, we have right hand, left hand. We have head, leg, right, left legs, and all the parts we have in the body. See, just all the part of the body. See, but all are one. See, the body to be kept and guarded. So, no, I protect my body, including all the limbs, all the parts of the body. See, so this is the example. Analogy. I just don't say, I just protect only my head or my stomach, So I have to protect all my body. With this example, likewise, different beings in their joy and sorrows are like me, all one in wanting happiness. You see, such wonderful words, you see. Like my right hand doesn't like suffering, pain. Likewise, my left hand doesn't like pain, suffering. So I have to protect both. Same way all sentient beings, nobody wants suffering. All wants peace and happiness. See? So that's why I have to guard all sentient beings. I have to practice this mind to all sentient beings. It's such beautiful, That's how Buddha taught. And great practitioners like Shantideva followed that and passing down to us. Just meditate. That's why we can share this message to all sentient beings. So we practitioners, we have to practice this. No, we can't afford to depress ourselves. We have to uplift from this. We can't be so selfish. Open our heart and share to all sentient beings, you see. Because our life is dependent on the sentient beings, you see. Not in the Buddhist, but in regular, in the samsara, you see. Look at this, just look at your breakfast in the table. How many are involved on that? The farmer who grow the vegetables, all these grains, and just those who import it or export it, those who merchandise, all these things. So many people involved. So many people involved just in the one bowl of the breakfast. No. So look at this, We may say, this I paid. Of course we paid for this. But if there's no food, what we can pay? So just look at this. This estimation is nothing to the spiritual. This reality check. How everybody's functioning. How everybody's interconnected. So just reflect on this, meditate on this. Look at, you see, like a politician. Like, for example, yeah, leader of the country. If there's no people, how you can become leader? No? Because the people in the country, all that, then you become leader. So leader means not to destroy their peace and happiness. That's not a leader. No. What people want, no. What kind of, doesn't matter what you believe. Everyone desire for peace and happiness. So leader means you have to lead that direction. Alleviate, get rid of all the cause of the suffering. Then you become the leader, you see. So without sentient beings, there's no leader. Look at this is exactly this what they're talking about. See, so this is such a precious. You see, look at this, and you just rejoice this wisdom. So, oh, this is such a precious. This is what called a practical approach. There's nothing a myth, obvious, clear, precise, you see. So, so verse 91, the hand and other limbs are many and distinct. Yes, distinctive, you have all this. But all are one, the body, to be kept and guarded. Likewise, different beings, there's so many different beings who speak different languages, who has different cultures, who have different belief systems, who believe different religions. Doesn't matter. Those all are secondary. The reality nature is they all want peace and happiness. They all don't want suffering. That's the reality nature, you see. In the joy and sorrow is like me, see, like myself. Whatever I believe doesn't matter, but I want peace and happiness. But I want to free from suffering. That counts. See, no? So all one in wanting happiness. It's so precious, you see. We have to share this to all other sentient beings. Just imagine, everybody has the responsibility. No? Verse 92, just here. The pain of mind does not afflict or cause discomfort to another's bodies. See, now this is an argument, so you argue. No, I have the pen. That pen is only for me. Only I have. That doesn't affect others. No. So why I should bother that? Then is, and yet this pain is hard for me to bear. Yes, when I have the pain, I'm very difficult to bear it, accept it. No, I don't want my pain. I want to get rid of my pain. No, so now see, because I cling and take it for my own. See, it's because I cannot bear it because I cling to myself. I'm so attached to myself. So it's very difficult to bear my pain. If I release my attachment, there will be not that much pain. This is such a profound meaning, you see. Very simple. So this is how we can become wise. It's called free from the boundaries, you see. Yes, so as a mission, my pain doesn't affect others, but it's difficult for me to bear it because I cling myself, cling or I attach to myself. So I have to release my attachment. See. So I say, as just mentioned, I cannot bear it because I cling to myself. Now, here you see verse 93 said, and others beings pain, I don't feel others' pain. When somebody gets a strong headache, it doesn't affect me. No. Said, yet, because I take them to myself, their suffering is mine, and therefore how to bear. So, you know, when I think of others, and when I have strong compassion to others, then others' suffering is difficult to bear. Just look at the mother, you know, a mother who has a child. When the child gets a strong headache, it's a child's pain, you know. It's not mother. But mother is so difficult to handle. Difficult to accept that. My child has a strong headache. What should I do? You know, like it's the worse than she has more suffering than the child has because she's so caring about the child. So like that, if you care all sentient beings, then you cannot bear their suffering. Means you will try all the best how to free from the suffering. So we need this kind of individuals more than before. So the world can be better, you see. So this is the wisdom, first you say. Wisdom means insight, and the decisive insight or critical insight. That insight wisdom allow us to see the suffering of sentient beings. Then compassion, like a mother has a child, to all the sentient beings. Then we can help each other instead of giving more suffering to others. You know? We just, you know, due to our self-grasping, the ego, we want to dominate others under your control. And then we give them more suffering. It's because of our selfishness, our ego. You know? But we need such a great wisdom and compassion to calm down, to rest the world, in a more harmonious. This is how to do these practices there. How to relate to ourselves, how to relate in the world. This, you see, such a precious teaching, really, you know. This is in the Tunga, Dala Baba Minjurian, Deda, Tunga, Dadu Shebe, Sabarkas, you know. As I mentioned, I gave an example of the. Also, sometimes there are some doctors, some physicians who really cares their patient, you know. When the patient has such a terrible pain, the doctor can feel because doctor can diagnose, and cares so much the patient. You know? So in the Dharma teaching, sometimes the example, everyone is like the patient, everyone is like the physician, then you no need any problems. But mother, father, who cares the child, is the good example. You know? So we, through the love and compassion to all sentient beings, and then bodhicitta practice this to free sentient beings from the cycle of the samsara and achieve the complete enlightenment. So this practice, we all need, and this is a universal truth. Vajrayana also included there. Vajrayana practitioners, without bodhicitta, cannot attain Buddhahood. So this, so precious. And then verse 94, 94, yeah. Now it's just repeating earlier, but making different way of explanation to get the message, you see. So I said 94, and therefore I will dispel the pain of others, the Bodhisattva. I, as a bodhicitta practitioner, I will dispel the suffering of others, the pain of others, physical pain, especially mental pain of others. For it is simply pain, just like my own. There's nothing to judge. Whether I like that person or not like that person, I simply have to dispel the suffering because it's suffering. See, it's very good, you see. Sometimes we judge people whether I like or don't like. When I don't like that person, I don't bother. Let it suffer. Let him or her suffer because I don't like. Here, no judgment. You see, simply it's because of suffering. I have to work, help others. No judgment, no discrimination. See. Just reflect in the mind, meditate. This is a practice before we before we act on, first we practice this in the heart. Then that will give us such a great comfort. because it deletes our judgment. Sometimes our judgment makes the discrimination. We discriminate this, that. And then our mind becomes narrow. So here, just discarding all the narrowness. Just mind spacious, meditate. People I like or don't like, everyone deserves peace and happiness. Everyone deserves to free from suffering. Meditate on this and practice, you see. This is such precious, you know. This is the real jewel that we need to cherish. Sometimes when we have some kind of jewel, you know, gold, this also precious, you know, but this is more precious than any of the jewel in the world. It's wonderful, you know? Because, you know, and others I will aid and benefit, for they are living beings like my body, you see. I have to benefit others, you know, because they are sentient beings like my body. I am one of the sentient beings who wants all the peace and happiness. So all sentient beings are that nature. So this is the equalizing practice of the sameness of all sentient beings. We first meditate on this, reflect on this, you see, repeatedly purify all our narrow mind. This is not a Buddhist philosophy. This is the practice. Estimation. This is a universal way to bring peace and happiness. And it's the cause, you see. We're creating the cause for peace and happiness. It's not just praying. It's not just chanting mantras. As Alia mentioned many times, you know, sometimes we have, let us arrange 100 million mantra for world peace, you know. You see. And then we quarrel each other, you know, disagreements each other. So what that do, you know. But this is how I think some great teachers should teach this way, how to bring world peace. Not from religious point of view, not just from the Buddhist point of view, but from the universal point of view. Give this message to all the sentient beings. This is the morality. See, this is the ethic, universal morality, universal ethic. Morality ethic means doing right thing, avoiding all the confusion. This is what it's about. See, that's why I said view No, the view, meditation, contact, all should be into one, as you see. The view, our view is to Buddhahood. And this is our meditation. We meditate on Bodhisattva. And this is contact, avoiding all the harms and practicing all the goodness. Okay. Now, these are just different way of explaining. Shantideva has such a great skill. You see, verse 95. Since I and other beings both in wanting happiness are equal and alike, you see, as earlier mentioned. So we all are equal. We want peace and happiness. We don't want suffering. No. We talk about that, but we don't practice. Now here Shantideva is explaining how to practice. You see, what difference is there to distinguish us that I should strive to have my bliss alone? And so why I should alone just attach to myself for my happiness, peace, and joy, not others. See, all sentient beings, we all should have this now share this thought. Our mind practice to share to all sentient beings, not just only for myself. So this each verse, now please repeat yourself and meditate. See, practice. So this will help to purify all the earlier mentioned, all our attachment, and all our anger, resentment. Purify all of them. So just reflect again and again, meditate on this. Right now, we're like a baby, have not achieved the ability, see, quality yet, but we're starting. First, we have to meditate ourselves, reflect on this repeatedly, practice. Sometimes we emotionally feel so good. Oh, yes, I want to jump, but then we're limited. Then sometimes it brings a lot of disappointment. I try to help, they don't accept my offerings, or they are just so aggressive and this, that, you see. Then we're so limited in our practice. Emotionally, we just, want to do all these things as we heard of, but practically we're so limited. So to this, we just meditate, practice ourselves. This is just a good example of the previous great masters. Like Siddhartha as mentioned, Siddhartha himself, before he became Buddha, first he went to 6 years retreat, great hardship, practiced all this, with the different ways. Then after achieving enlightenment, means after he became Buddha, then finally he came in the world and taught all the teachings for the rest of his life. Likewise, Milarepa, he always in the solitude, and his teachings were so successful. Likewise, Kampupa, after leaving Milarepa, Kampupa went to retreat for 6 years. Finally, when he attained Buddhahood, then he went to Dalakambu, established the monastery there. So these great teachers accomplished themselves first in the study, practice. Then came out in the world and shared this all wisdom. And so many of them got so much benefit from this. So the teaching continues still now. So we also now take these examples and practice ourselves. Sometimes when the suffering comes there, as you know, oh, this is my suffering. I'm so happy I have this suffering. This suffering may substitute all the suffering of sentient beings. May all sentient beings free from their suffering. You know? Sometimes when you have depression, instead of just indulge in your depression, just instead of your just dissolving into that, just take your depression. Oh, I'm so fortunate I have this. All the depression of the sentient beings be purified by this my small depression. May sentient beings are alleviated from the suffering. You see, so your depression, instead of becoming a totally pain, it becomes such an instrument to cultivate bodhicitta, to exercise where bodhicitta. Build the bodhicitta from there. So practice like that, step by step. No? And then you will appreciate all the time. You see. So then this is the wisdom of the Dharma, which means Buddha taught this. So say, I take refuge in the Buddha. I take refuge in the Dharma. I'm so fortunate. Practice that way. No? So these are such a precious teaching. And 96. So now here we are practicing, we are studying, we are studying and practicing in equalizing oneself and other. Or we all are same. So describing how we are same. How to follow that path. See. And 96 said, since I and others beings both in fleeing suffering are equal and alike, what difference is there to distinguish us? That I should save my lives and not the others, you see. Before it was, we all are same, wanted to have happiness. Now here, nobody wants the suffering. So why I only myself now just desire to free from suffering. See, since I and others being both fleeing suffering, we all want to free from suffering. Even small insects. Small insect in the water, the fly, mosquitoes, you see. Equal and alike. What difference is there to distinguish us? So there's nothing to distinguish, I mean, there's nothing to judge each other. This is a better person, not better person. That I should save myself and not others. Where I can distinguish that. I should save myself, not others. So in the mind, just meditate on this. Wherever you are, that you are home, in the bus, in the aeroplane, anywhere you are. So we all are same. Meditate on this. Practice on this. It's so beautiful, you see. It's so soothing, calming your mind. But then you can say, I'm just not alone. All the sentient beings are with me. We're in the same boat. We all are trying our best to survive. Just meditate on this. So as you see, Milarepa mentioned, you see, desire for peace and happiness others is our own benefit. It's cause of our own peace and happiness. Look at this, you know. You feel more free, fresh. Even the midst of all the obstacles, suffering. If we have this practice, then you feel I'm not alone. I'm the amount of all others who are suffering, who are struggling to free from suffering, working hard. So my suffering is enough, sufficient to purify all other suffering. So meditate on this, practice on this, you see. Then there's 97. Since the pain of others does not harm to me, I do not shield myself from it. This also, just mentioned above. Others' pain or suffering that other one have. Now, that doesn't give me pain or suffering to myself. So why I should heal or protect? No, no, I do not shield myself from it. No need to protect from this, because this is other's problem. I don't have to work anything on this. Then so why, in that case, why to guard against my future pain? So now this argument is, why are you so afraid of your future suffering? Because your future suffering is future, is not here. We have a lot of fear. I may face a lot of obstacles. I may face a lot of suffering. I may lose this. I may happen this. I may this happen this. We're so much concerned about that. So it is confused. It's confusion. This argument, because I'm saying other suffering is other suffering. I don't have to shield that. I don't have to worry about it. So in that case, why you are so much worrying about your future suffering? Because you don't have suffering now. See? Which does not harm to this, this my present needs. No? The future suffering is future suffering. I don't have now. So this is the kind of argument, debating, See. So I'm so much worrying my future. So that's why I have to prepare now to protect myself. So in that case, you have to protect all the sentient beings suffering. Because as you don't want suffering, all one doesn't want suffering. This other day I mentioned, our in the West, in the West, now it's coming also in the East as well. Our retirement, all those insurance companies. Right now we're paying so much to these companies so that we will kind of secure our suffering in the future. Who knows? You never know, It's just a risk. Then they say, yes, you have to take risk. All the business are risk. So you have to take the risk. So they're like this. When you have this argument, then say, why not? We protect all other sentient beings. So just open our heart. Just try to, Shantideva was trying to help us to break through our very narrow mind. Okay. 98. So it says, now it's a continuation. So to think that I will have to bear it is in fact a false idea. For that which dies is one thing, what is born is something else. So you are thinking for the future. It's now. It's just a fact. Because your birth and your death are two different. When you are born, where you're so much worried about the death, because death is death. It's just it's not the birth. Too different, Then earlier come, say, oh, because it's me, I'm the one who was born, then I will die, So then nobody will take care of me if I don't do myself. Practically, yes, but mentally prepare how to help others. We have a lot of fear at the time of death, but that doesn't solve the problem. If you practice Bodhisattva now, to all other sentient beings, and practice the contentment. All the rest is mentioned there. We have to come together, all those put together. If we practice now in permanence, and you see everything as an illusory nature, day-to-day our life, when that continues, that will help also at the time of death. After death, you see, So you just practice now. So this all people have different ideas, different kind of questions. So Shantideva was trying to explain, no, with this to solve our confusion. He brings all this, solution, how to dissolve our confusion. See. Then 99 he said, then there's more arguments, you have to take care of yourself. Don't bother others. Bodhisattva, not so necessary, just practice yourself. So there he said here now, 99, it is for the sufferer. Is that right? Yeah. Yeah. It is for the sufferer themselves, you will say. You have to protect yourself because you are suffering. It happens simply through the force of ego. Sorry. To share themselves from injuries that comes. It is for the sufferers themselves, you will say, to share themselves from injuries that comes. No, you're suffering. You are this sufferer. You are the one who's suffering. So because of you have to take care of your suffering, yourself. So don't worry about others. So in that case, he said, the pain felt in my foot is not my hands. When you have a pain on your foot, so it's not the pain of your hand. It's your foot suffering. So I say here, why, in fact, should one protect that others, where your hand is working so hard to protect your foot or your leg, When you have a pain on your leg, so leg is suffering, not your hand. So your hand is wrapping your foot. Your hand is not suffering, Your hand has no pain, and the pain is on your leg. So let the leg take care of by itself. Don't worry your hand. You understood? So Shantideva was giving so detailed kind of argument to solve all the confusion. It's called jigsaw. All the jigsaw confusions are just hard to solve. And I may argue, I have to protect myself. I don't bother others. Because when I suffer, nobody will protect me if I don't protect myself. So I have to protect. I don't protect others. So he's now making sense. In that case, when you have a pain on your leg, on your foot, then the leg has a problem, pain, where your hand is now helping your foot, leg, because your hand has no problem, just fine, So in that, thing will come next, you see. So it's a very good idea and a good understanding, you see. Because now you say next year, you see, He said, you see, true, it is inadmissible. You will say, it is inadmissible. You will say, it happens simply through the force of ego clinging. Say, you're saying it's true. Why the hand need to help the leg? But it's because I have, this is my leg, this is my hand. So my hand need to help my leg because I cling ego as one, I as one. One ego has this leg and hand. So the hand need to help the leg. This is my clinging on this. Yes, there's not good reason. It's inadmissible. There's no good reason, but because of my clinging the ego, then I do this. See? But what is inadmissible for others and myself should be discarded utterly. So in that not good reason, we should get rid of it. My clinging ego, I should get rid of my ego, you see. Utterly, step by step. Here in Tibetan, it said, Chinupanis, step by step. Then get rid of it, my clinging, the ego. Because clinging ego is this, as earlier we have discussed. Ego clinging is just a pattern. It's a habit. Its habit is ingrained, but there's no real ego is there to cling on. So because of that, I need to purify myself. Step by step, purify the ego, and then impress all sentient beings as oneself. See, so this all just a collection of many causes of condition. So you say here, verse 101. Continual and gatherings, so-called like garland, mala, Mala, there's 108 beads. This we say mala. One bead, we don't say mala. Two beads, we don't say mala. When there's 100 beads, then we say mala. And also you see, like army, soldier, army is many collection. They are like 10, 20, 100 people, all those collections they call then army. Or in the public gathering, so many people come together, there's a public gathering. We don't call one a public gathering. We don't call one as a whole armies. So this all just a relative level, illusory nature. So there is no one to experience pain for who is there to be his honor. So there's no one who's suffering. This all a collection. This is the illusory nature. So this is also very precious understanding. Now you see, I say, I'm suffering. Where's your suffering? If you investigate, you don't find your suffering as one entity, one real nature. It's all our ignorance, grasping, holding as one. Then I say, I'm suffering. So my leg suffering. So I have a lot of suffering on my leg. I feel whole body system because I'm holding this. I am as one. Otherwise, it's all, if you separate, there's no special, no suffering is there. This is a very important point. This reality nature. No, just to get, you see, 11, 101. If I say, I have a pain on this finger, where's the pain if I investigate? Take all the dust particle, each and every, through the quantum physics theory, step by step. And finally, I cannot find a single dust particle that exists independently. So how they can have such kind of pain? It's all illusory nature, you see. Look at this, you see. Since my English is limited, so I try to explain, but since it is limited, so I cannot say exactly all this, like, in Tibetan it's called Keshi, Keju. There's no one thing to characterize this, Just for example, fire. If you burn a collection of the fuel, many candles put together, and you burn a fire, and there's a heat. But if you take all dust particle of the fire, there's no one permanent or real fire. See? So look at this. So you see, everything is illusory nature. There's nothing to hold for oneself. It's called self. I am. So we all are share. Everybody is same. No, at the same time, in the relative state, we cannot ignore. I or you. We cannot ignore that I want peace and happiness. I cannot ignore that. Because as soon as there's a cause, I have created the cause, there's a result. Whatever cause I created, good or bad, there's a result. It's all relative state. That's called relative state. That's called interdependent or interconnected, interdependent. So this is what the teaching is about, to see. You reflect on this, meditate on this, and there we can get such great, you see, bodhicitta, such a powerful bodhicitta. You can cultivate to all the sentient beings. That's what's called wisdom. Understanding of the wisdom itself. And from this wisdom, then you can have such great compassion to all the sentient beings. All in the relative state, everything manifests according to the cause. Whatever we create a cause, that brings the result. So if you ask, like say, which is the first, chicken or egg? No. So just continuation, causes and condition. So practice this. From there, we can release and reduce our mental afflictions, purify the mind. See, we get all the opportunity, we have the access to practice this way. So today's, this chapter 8, this connection related, the making connection from others, so all the mental afflictions, how much suffering we create in the samsara, in the world. We sacrifice so much suffering, and we continuously just creating the cause for suffering. Never get out of this. Now today, you look at this, we can make it, we can do it, because we should have this kind of wisdom to do this. So therefore, you see, sometimes when you hear something, this body is unclean, all these things, please don't talk about this now. I don't like it, So we don't pay attention so much, and then we don't get the real message. But if we pay attention on this, how reality nature of this, how sentient beings are confused and torturing themselves within this, and then when you are convinced all this, when you talk this teaching today, it's all so beneficial now. It gives us real awakening. Yes, that's what right. I was confused. All my life, I was doing these things without realizing. Now I know it. I understand. Sometimes we feel, I'm a little late now. I'm too old. Sometimes we feel, but never late. Always just pursue life after life. You are cultivating bodhicitta. It's such a powerful. No matter it takes time, at the end of the day, your cultivation of bodhicitta will never let you down. It's such a very important point. So you see, these are teachings that we study, we contemplate, and we meditate, practice. Therefore, we all have the responsibilities, as I mentioned, those who are interested have the responsibility to maintain the teachings in the world, to share the teachings to others. You have heard of great Bodhisattvas who risk their life. It's because of this, you see. The sentient beings are such a precious. Because of the sentient beings, they become Bodhisattva. Because of the sentient beings, they become Buddha. So these great Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, they repay the kindness of the sentient beings. Because how much sentient beings has supported for them to become Buddha, Bodhisattva. See? So this will talk again more and more. First, just today, just reflect on this. So read from all the steps, you see, before you may not like it. But now when you come to this point, you may appreciate. We may inspire, you see. Now it makes sense, yes. No? Okay. Everyone, thank you so much. Now please take a deep breath. Inhale fully. And exhale. All the stress. Now, we worked hard during these 3 hours, but it's so precious. This kind of teachings, wisdoms, we cannot get from anywhere. But it's because of our collective work, meditation practice. We created such a merit to deserve these teachings, wisdom, and we should rejoice. Rejoice ourselves. This is how we can free from the samsara. We can help other sentient beings. Such a precious, you see. Then when you help other sentient beings, you just enjoy it without expectation, without a reward. You feel, I'm so privileged I could do this. So meditate on this, practice on this. That's why I repeat, that's how Buddha's teaching is so precious. It's not a religion. It's the reality nature. This is not something spiritual. Sometimes we say, oh, this is spiritual, pure, all these. This is just a reality nature, a universal value. Through this value, we can make a better life for ourselves and others. We can contribute even small amount, whatever you can. Okay. Thank you, everybody. Have a good time and relax and enjoy Dharma practice anytime, all the time. Okay. Annie, you want to say some dedication prayers?
Lasso. By this merit, having attained omniscience and defeated the enemy of wrongdoing, may I free all beings from the ocean of existence with its tumultuous waves of birth, old age, sickness, and death. Just as the heroic Manjushri who knows everything as it is, and as Samantabhadra likewise did too, just so to follow all of them and train myself, I perfectly dedicate these meritorious actions. May the precious Supreme Bodhisattva arise in those in whom it has not arisen. Having arisen, may it not diminish, but ever expand more and more. As long as space remains, as long as the world remains, may I too remain to elevate the suffering of the world. May I, in each and every lifetime, carry the weight of Buddha Shakyamuni's teachings And if I cannot bear that weight, at the very least, may I be born with the burden of thinking that the Buddha Dharma could wane. You who are richly endowed with the glorious wealth of Dharma knowledge, who through reflecting and meditating have actualized the self-aware absolute reality, enshrined with the 100,000 light rays of ethical discipline of the Buddha Dharma, may you, Khenchen Ratnadwaja, live long.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Tashidale, Rinpoche.
Tashitele, everyone.
Thank you, Rinpoche.
Tashidale.
Wonderful.
Thank you, Rinpoche.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Rinpoche. Excellent explanation.
Oh, yes. I'm so happy you are here, Jenny.
Yeah, very good explanation. Very good. Excellent.
Yes, I'm so happy. Yes, yes. Sometimes I'm little struggling, puzzled.
Yeah,
Sometimes I can say a few words better, you know.
it's very good. Excellent. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes, yes.